Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, still listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy, Brandon Combs. We are without Michael Buckheister tonight, and you know what that means, man. While the cat is away, the mice will play, for sure. We're going to have an action-packed show for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about the Bears maybe getting a big-name quarterback. We are going to play our favorite game, our favorite segment now, everybody's favorite segment now. Ain't nobody got time for that. Everybody loves that little video that we play in between. But before we get into all that, make sure you head over to manhourradio.com, Check out the merchandise tab. Get yourself some fresh gear from Man Hour. And before we get into any further, let's bring him on. The man, the myth, the legend himself, as Buck would say, the best interviewer in Indiana, the Wyatt Williams. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, not much. How is it going today, bud?
It's great. I had, school today. Came home, had all kinds of stuff to do, get ready for the show. Prepping for sectionals next week. We got a big week next week for boys sectionals. I'll be covering the Seymour sectionals. So one of the top sectionals in the state. I'm really excited about it. Got to call all their games throughout the week. Also tomorrow, I'm headed up to Seymour to watch somebody we have on the show all the time. That's Trey Kaufman. I'm watching his final regular season game. Me and Trey are really good buddies, so got a nice little slate for the next couple of days.
Yeah. Hey, so let's walk through your day. So you wake up, you go to school. If you have to go to work, you go to work. And then you come here, you do the man hours. So basically from, Monday through Thursday anyway, from say 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., you're basically to the wall, right?
Yep. That's about as dangerous as I get. Then I always I shower at nighttime, so I shower right after that. So go to bed, after I shower, eat dinner, because I eat dinner after and stuff, because I do the show prep before. So after all that's over with, it's about 1 a.m. before I get to bed, and then we're up at 6 again to do it all over again.
Man, that's just like me, though. I mean, I working full time, doing this full time. Like I tell people all the time, like I have my laptop sitting in front of my computer screen, so I'm working while I'm working, which I hope my boss isn't watching right now. But even if he is, I don't really care. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm doing all the stuff for the show, creating what overlays we need, doing all the stuff that we need for the show while I'm trying to do my day job as well. Man, I'm glad Buck is not with us, because Buck is out trying to, talk with the bigwigs over at Big X, and let them know that we are ready. We are poised to do our thing. And, I can't wait to do this full time, man. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, no, man. I love it every single day. There is no better feeling in the world than to wake up every morning and know that you're doing what you love. And that's, already I'm doing what I love doing, this show, calling games, all that good stuff. But I mean, it's a dream, and eventually like we've all got the work ethic. Eventually this is going to take off and we'll be right where we need to be.
I feel like you saying to me that, it's, being able to wake up and just do what you love to do. It's the dream, blah, blah. You are 18, sir. I am about to be 40 at the end of March. So you telling me that, you can't wait, it's a dream, you're going to live your dream, is like when, the Cubs won the World Series back in 2016, and my son, who was 12 at the time, said, I waited my whole life for this. Shut up. Just stop. You don't even know what you're waiting for. What are you talking about? But no, seriously, man, it's going to be great. We're going to be awesome, guys. So just remember, Big X Radio starting on Monday, 3 to 5 p.m. We are going to start recording on Sunday nights as well. So we are, as Michelle chimes in on the chat, Combs is old, 40 with the big eyes, you know.
Combs is old.
But yeah, so we've got Big X Radio. Sunday nights are going to be kind of sporadic just because, family issues and working on, getting everything squared away. So Sunday nights will probably be about 9-ish p.m. Eastern. And then every other night is going to be 8 to 10 like normal. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm very excited for things to come. I never thought that if I ever did get to do this, I would be doing it alongside a Green Bay Packers fan, though. So, but, I guess if I have to do it alongside any Green Bay Packers fan, I might as well be you, right?
I mean, hey, you got lucky, right? That's what you mean, right? I mean, you never thought you'd get this lucky. That's what you mean, right? You never thought you'd get this lucky to do this alongside a Packers fan?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. But let's get into the comments here. Brian Pirtle says, hi, guys. What's going on, Brian? Thanks for joining us. Penelope says, hey, guys, ready for another awesome show. Penelope, again, thanks as always for joining the show. Had a lot of fun with you last night with the volleyball talk. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, God.
We actually had an interesting conversation pre-show because because of that segment had some sponsors reach out to us that we're not quite sure we can use, but the sponsors that reached out to us were of Adam and Eve, and if you don't know who the Adam and Eve store is, just Google them, check it out, and then
ask my grandma after that segment last night. I'm sure
she might need the promo code.
Oh, God. Stop it.
But
love you, Nana.
At any rate, hey, look, that's the thing. That's good news because that means people are watching, people are out there looking at the show, people are hearing the things that we're saying, and they're liking it, and they want to attach their name to us. And that's big news. That's good news. And I can't wait, man. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Nana's out there laughing, man. She's she's ready. But no, so we've got a whole lot of stuff going on right now in the sports world. Tiger Woods too. I don't know. Did you see the images of the X-rays of his leg after surgery?
No, so I have not got a chance to check him today. I saw a bunch of notifications on my phone that it was apparently pretty bad. The other thing that I also heard about it was that what we know right now is not the full extent of the injury. They're saying there is more involved with this. They just haven't been able to get to it yet because that Tiger can't walk yet, and his legs needed the bars in them and stuff. So they had to focus on those, putting the rods in and all that stuff to get him to be able to, begin his road to recovery. So there's still more we don't know about this. I'm sure there's going to be muscular issues with the, some kind of trauma that the legs have gone through. I'm sure that, the body works weird. I'm sure that there's more to this that we don't know as well. And, I'm just praying for Tiger, hoping that everything's okay.
Yeah. I saw the images and they're kind of, I don't want to say disturbing because, we know that he broke his leg. We know that both of his legs. We know that he shattered his ankle. But the image of the bone being still cracked, the rod and the pins that are in it, and the plate that is over by his tibia is telling to me of a guy that I can never see playing this sport again. I can't see him making a comeback from this injury. What they're calling, what I heard over and over again today was a high energy injury. Man,
I'm looking at it right now, the X-ray.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, you can see the fractures in the bones and everything.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
And plus adding the ankle to that too, man. Yeah. It's going to be hard for him to walk. It's going to be even if he does play. I mean, he's out for at least the next couple of seasons. But I like the way that what is his name? Rory McIlroy. I love the way Rory McIlroy put it today. Was that we're talking about whether or not is Tiger going to play again? Is he ever going to play golf again? golf is really the furthest thing from his worries right now. We should really be thankful that Tiger is still with us. We should be thankful that his children did not lose their father.
Yeah.
We should be thankful that, that this didn't have the catastrophic ending that it could have had, much like, like I said, we just had over a year ago with Kobe and Gigi.
Absolutely.
So, that is good news. That is great news. And even if he can never play again, he still can be a great ambassador for the sport.
Absolutely.
But
it's been, like you said, it's just scary, the situation. It is a blessing to his family. It is a blessing to him. It is a blessing to all of us that are fans and spectators. That he is okay and that he is all good. That's really all that matters. I mean, it's gonna suck if he never gets to play. Excuse me. It's gonna suck if he doesn't get to play golf ever again. But at the same time, the fact that he's still alive, the fact that he still gets to go home and see his family every night is a blessing all in itself. And that's what I'm most thankful about. At the end of the day, golf is great, but golf doesn't matter. At the end of the day, him getting to see his family every night is what matters. And he got lucky with that. And like you said, you can always be an ambassador. You can always be a broadcaster. He can always be a golf coach. He was literally on his way to go give a golf lesson to Drew Brees and Justin Herbert. You heard me correctly. Tiger Woods was driving on his way to go give a golf lesson to Drew Brees and Justin Herbert. So if those guys will trust you with their golf game, which pro athletes, I don't know if people know this, pro athletes talk a lot of trash in these golf games they have with each other. But, that's a big thing. And if you can teach guys like that, that would be awesome. But like I said, a broadcaster, some kind of a coach, an ambassador of the sport, even some kind of a chairman for the PGA. The guy could do anything. He's the greatest golfer to ever hold a driver, putter, iron, whatever you want to say, in his hand. Nobody's ever even been close. I mean, it's incredible the stuff he's done. So, like I said, it is a blessing that he is alive.
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on, Drew? Thank you for joining us again. Appreciate it. Had a chat with Drew. Drew was giving me some inside information today. I guess he's the one that brought to my attention about Russell Wilson and the trade block and the Bears being interested, or him being interested in the Bears. And, we'll talk about that in a little while here. But I don't know why any quarterback would be interested in coming to the Bears, and that's coming from a Bears fan. So this organization is just a crap show right now.
Just a dumpster fire.
If I am a quarterback that is worth any bit of a damn other than a rookie quarterback, I'm not coming to the Chicago Bears unless I have to. But again, we'll talk about that later. We are going to get to our first break, and when we get back, we do have a special guest joining us. Blake Zender will be joining us to talk some Philadelphia Eagles, some Indiana Hoosiers, and I'm going to see if I can get a couple of stories out of him about the Wyatt Williams, because I know you guys have been friends for a long time, so I'm pretty sure we can get some inside information here that we can use here coming up in the future. So stay tuned for that, guys. We will be right back on the Man Hour. Welcome back, Man Hour Nation. We are back. Blake Zender is supposed to be joining us here. We did lose him backstage, so we'll wait for him to come back up. But why don't you tell everybody before he does come back up, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Blake before we get on?
Yeah, so me and Blake have been best friends for a really long time. He's a huge sports fan, just like I am. We've grown up arguing about sports all the time. I kind of cred my sports knowledge to Blake because I've had to defend my takes to him. He's a big Eagles fan. His whole family is a big Eagles fan. He's a big Hoosiers fan as well. Played a cornerback underneath Buck while he was coaching at Floyd Central. So love the guy to death.
Oh,
and
God.
Speaking of Blake Zender, we're gonna bring him on here. He just joined us. Blake, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, guys?
What's going on, bud?
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much.
I love the Eagles base. I know about it, but can you tell everybody else about your family's fanatic ways of the Eagles and how awesome your guys' basement is?
Man, it is awesome. My stepdad, Brian, he set this up. Ultimate place to watch football. You can ask Wyatt. We have some good times here.
Every single Sunday.
But you're an Eagles fan, man. How do you become a Philadelphia Eagles fan in Southern Indiana?
Man, my stepdad, whenever he married my mom, he loved Randall Cunningham when he was younger. So ever since then, I never liked football before that, and then it all took off from there. Die hard ever since then.
Wow. That's interesting. So let me ask you a question real quick before I know you and Wyatt got some stuff to discuss, but Wyatt is on this trip about your boy being a top 10 quarterback. Is Carson Wentz a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? Please talk some sense into Wyatt.
Oh, man. I don't know. Right now, no, not at all. Next season, yes, he will be, and I can promise you that he will be. The Indianapolis Colts will go to the Super Bowl.
Oh man, that's a big one.
That's disappointing.
The Indianapolis Colts will go to the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz will lead.
That's disappointing.
Hey, Eagles Colts Super Bowl. Carson.
Eagles Colts. No, all right. Look. If you're going to come on a radio show and talk about sports, you should try to not be drunk before you get on camera.
My bad, man. My bad.
So, Blake, we started off with a little bit of Eagles here, man. I know we watched the IU Rutgers game last night. Little disappointing. I know, man. It's rough, but, can you kind of run us through, just a Hoosiers fan this year, an up year, but a down year, but a mid year, but a poor Archie year, then a good Archie year after they beat Iowa. What are the mixed emotions of Hoosiers fans now?
Man, I just don't understand it. We're so inconsistent ever since Archie's came to IU, and I think me and you could both agree on this. It's just been inconsistent. Like we have a 15-point lead against Rutgers last night, and then we put in two freshmen and Christian Lander at point, and we just, I don't understand it. You have to keep your the player like Trey Jackson Davis. You have to keep him at center. You can't put him out on the point and stuff like that. I don't know. It's been a better year, but at the same time, it's so up and down and so inconsistent. It's just so frustrating.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions.
No, we got to win these past couple games. We're not going to get in the tournament, and right now we don't deserve to be in the tournament.
I think I don't know, man. You guys beat Iowa twice. I think that in the end, when they look at resume, a team that beat Iowa, Luka Garza. I'm literally watching their game now as we're on the show. They're playing Michigan. A team that Iowa's a good team. You beat Iowa twice. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say that gets you in, but at the same time, when they look at resume, those are two huge wins.
No, you're exactly right, and that's what I'm saying. I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can. You can go beat an Iowa team by, 12 points, and then you can go lose to Ohio State, which is a good team, don't get me wrong, but you lose to them by 25 points almost. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, no, it is definitely been rough, but You spoke about Christian Lander and some of the other freshmen. Blake, we broadcast together. I do the play-by-play in color for the IHSA television network, Southern Indiana Sports Productions. You do the camera. We have got some really cool opportunities with some of the guys that are even at IU right now. Anthony Leal being one of those guys. So, I mean, how cool is that to get to travel the state and call games for some of the best athletes across Indiana?
I mean, it's awesome. It gives me goosebumps right here just thinking about it. I mean, just going around with your best friend, experiencing Hoosier Hysteria. I mean, there's nothing like it. And I mean, all the opportunities we get, going to see Anthony Leal play last year against a Silver Creek team that has Trey Kaufman, who's, one of the top recruits in the nation. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. Somebody like me and you that just love sports with everything in our heart, it just doesn't get any better than that. Absolutely.
So, speaking of Trey, man, okay, he, not only do we watch him on the court, he's a good friend of ours, right?
Oh, he's a great
guy.
Yeah, great guy.
As a Hoosiers fan, I know that you guys don't like bringing up that name because that was the big recruit for you guys. What could have been, right?
Yep.
And he's headed to your rival school too, Purdue. So what did you think when you saw that he was committing to Purdue?
Well, as a friend, I was happy for him but as an IU fan. I can't say I was very happy, but no, I love Trey. I love Trey, and I'm happy for him. He's a great guy. You couldn't find anybody else. Humble, great to be around. Just as an IU fan, I was very happy.
Blake, we got a fan here with a question. Wants to know where the accent's from. That doesn't sound like Indiana accent.
What does it sound like? Country accent.
It's a country. You do have a real Southern draw for sure.
It is, yeah. It's at Harrison County.
Harrison County. That's where I was brought up.
Buck chimes in and says Blake is the biggest Hick City boy you'll ever meet.
That's true, man. I can listen to Hank Williams Jr. I can go listen to Stain, like me and Buck or Combs were talking about the other day. We love Stain. I can go listen to rap music. I can listen to anything.
That's whatever. My girlfriend makes fun of me because we'll be in the car driving, and I have Spotify on my phone, and it always plays in the car through the Bluetooth, and so it could have it have Tupac, and then after that it'll be followed by Stained, and then after that it'll be followed by Eminem, and after that it'll be followed by Florida Georgia Line. Like my playlist is all over the place. I just like music in general.
Too,
I don't attach to one genre, but. So, Blake, how long have you and Wyatt been friends?
Oh, my gosh. 5-6 years now? I mean, we were acquaintances before that, but...
So, you've got to have some story, or maybe it's just a nickname, or maybe it's just something that we don't know about our boy Wyatt here, that might not necessarily get him in trouble, but, we could use against him when we're just, just chatting it up backstage.
I've got a good story.
All right, let's hear it.
I've got a good story for you.
Wyatt looks so scared.
So 8th grade year. 8th grade year, me and Wyatt and one of our other friends, we went to D.C. together. And we all had a room together, and we stood down there for a week for our 8th grade trip, and one night, Wyatt was taking a shower, and I've always known Wyatt's scared of the dark. You ever get Wyatt in the dark? There could be a little bug. There could be a little bug move in the corner. He'd freak out. So we
oh yeah.
We know he's taking a shower, so we go in, we flip off all the lights, take his towels, run out, lock the door, and we walk in and he starts screaming, "Mr. Kramus, Mr. Kramus," which is our principal. And priceless, best story I could ever. That's one of the top stories.
Oh my god! I got a question for you. Look up here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Did he come out of that shower looking anything like this?
Hey, that's exactly what he looks like every night.
That is amazing. Why, you're scared of the dark?
I was. That was in 8th grade. I will
Eighth
admit,
grade was like 2 years ago.
I was a very late bloomer on the scared of the dark situation. Very late bloomer.
Oh my god.
I was bad.
Answer the question honestly here, Wyatt. If you're home
Yeah.
alone, all right, your parents are gone for the night, it's just you and your girlfriend falls asleep early, you need to go get a drink of water downstairs. Do you have to run downstairs, turn on the light, then turn off the light, and then run up the stairs to get back into your room? Or, like, you walking calmly through the house, no big deal?
So I understand that I am very jittery, so I don't put myself in those situations. I get water before, so that way I don't have to run up and down the
to
stairs.
go get the water, don't you? You wake up the girlfriend to go get the water.
No, I get the water before. I don't even put myself in the situation. I know what I'm like. I know what the situation is. So I get like 2 cups of water. They're in here on my desk, and that's how it is.
Oh, man.
I got
You
2
are
cups of
never
water
living
sitting here
this
waiting.
down. You are never living this down. All right, so Blake, let's get back to you, buddy. So the Eagles lose Carson Wentz, and all signs pointed to during the season that they are actually pretty high on Jalen Hurts. I am not a big believer in Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the future for the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you, as a fan, want to see the move that the Eagles make at quarterback? Do you want to see Jalen Hurts get a chance, or do you want to see them draft somebody, or do you want to see them go try and make a move for a guy like a Dak Prescott?
Listen, right now, the Eagles have kept putting themselves in bad situations. Right now, they need to make a decision. Are we going with Jalen Hurts, or are we drafting a quarterback? Are we going to go pick up a guy like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, somebody like that? Or we cannot stick with Jalen Hurts and then draft another quarterback. It's not going to go well. It's going to be another Carson Wentz situation. Like you said about Jalen Hurts, he played well his first couple games, but I think we've all talked about this. Nobody had film on him. Nobody had film on Jalen Hurts. So, he comes out. Nobody knows what's going to happen. He played well, but I truly don't know. I don't know if I can be all in Jalen Hurts because nobody had film on him. And I've seen him working hard in the offseason. I've seen videos and videos of him, but this team
So I
has
guess
to
therein lies the
make a
question:
decision. Are we going to draft a guy?
Yeah, if you're not big on Jalen Hurts, can you really draft a guy to sit behind Jalen Hurts? Like, do you want a guy
That's what
to
I'm
come
saying.
in and sit behind and learn from a Jalen Hurts, or do you go out and get a guy like let's say the trade with the Falcons and get a guy like Matt Ryan for 2 years, draft yourself a quarterback to sit under Matt Ryan and learn the system? I feel like that's the best move for the Eagles. I think that they put themselves in a tough situation, like you said. I just, look, as a Bears fan, man, I feel your pain. Look, we can't draft a quarterback. We can't develop a quarterback. We can't do any of the things necessary to make any of this stuff work, which is why I said earlier that I don't know why Russell Wilson, I don't know why any quarterback would consider Chicago as a landing spot, because there's just not enough there, and it starts with the front office and down, and the Eagles are in that same situation where it starts with the front office and down, and they need a total overhaul in order to become a relevant organization again. So I feel your pain there, man, for sure.
You're
so
exactly
Wyatt,
right. And I can agree with you with the Matt Ryan and bringing somebody like that.
Yeah, for sure. Wyatt, we gave Blake a chance to tell us a story about you. Why don't you give us a story about Blake that maybe somebody can use against him off camera?
God. Well, I know his stepdad's watching, and his mom possibly too. So I got to keep this G-rated.
Yeah, don't get him in trouble, but I mean,
No.
Blake's about to hit the end call button right now. He's about to go pull the plug on his internet so his parents can't watch the episode. He's about to do whatever he can to keep this. Wyatt, whatever you're thinking right now that he said no to, that's it. That's the story we want. That one right there.
I'll tell a Madden and a fishing story, okay? So Blake used to be terrible at Madden. I don't know what happened recently. Now he's a god at Madden all of a sudden. And me and him compete.
None of you guys are
battle
gods
it
till
out.
you play me. Just
Huh?
telling you. None of you guys are gods till you play me.
Oh, I no.
Just throwing it out there.
Trey Kaufman thought he could beat me too, but ask Trey about that. I think I beat him by 21 points. Let's get him on here.
So Blake used to be terrible at Madden, right? Like he couldn't hold a lead if he had it. He couldn't play from behind. He would always get blown out by me and his older brother Bison. So there's this one time we're playing and we're watching my aunt and uncle's house, and it's me, him, and then Bison's there as well. Bison stopped by for a little bit because he knew we were playing Madden and stuff. So we're all sitting here playing Madden, and Blake's up on me. I think we're in the fourth quarter, and I had a terrible fourth quarter. And Blake goes up by like 2 scores, okay? And there's like 3 minutes left, and I'm like, dang, like this is bad. So I'm thinking in my head, how can I get in his head to come back? And Blake's God. You still talking trash now? And I'm like, yeah. I'm coming back. He's like, you're coming back? I said, yeah. Like, not a doubt in my mind. I'm going to come back. You're going to mess up. And he's like, yeah, we'll see about that. So he gets all cocky. He drops back the pass, and I pick him off. I run it back and score. Now he's sweating. Now he's like, oh, God, it's a 1-score game again. He's got 3 timeouts. There's still there's still 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. So I kick it, and I hit stick him on the kickoff, and I pick it up. Then I score quickly again. Now we're tied up. And so he now is tied up with the ball after being up 2 scores with 3 minutes. So he's like, it's fine. We're going to score here. I'm going to win it. Watch this. So I get the ball back. I take it back. I was up by 1 point at that time. And so I'm up by 1 point, and Blake drives down the field. Now I'm sweating. I'm like, oh, God, he's going to pull this off. He goes to kick a field goal for the win. And I'm like, what can I do to like stop this from happening? He's like 40 yards out. So I call a timeout. You know, the ice the kicker thing in Madden?
Button.
No. So I call a timeout to ice the kicker, right? You know how Madden does that where it like shakes the camera a bunch and like zooms in and turns your kicker thing away, right?
Yeah.
He goes to kick it. He kicks it, and he shanks it off the right post and bounces off. Final score was like 53-52. What?
I think Combs knows a little bit about. I think Combs knows a little bit about shanking. You know, what was that one playoff game? The double doink. Remember that?
Yeah. I do
Cody
remember
Parkey.
that. That cost us the Super Bowl. That cost us the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, I remember it. Hey, look, I always say you should get extra points if you hit the uprights, because I think hitting the upright is harder than missing a field goal or even making a field goal.
Especially twice.
You do it twice. That should have been a 6-point, man. Don't even get me started. So we've got a couple of questions coming in again off the chat line here. Timothy Leonard says, oh, wait, that's his follow-up. His first question is, Blake, how long do you have to wait for Wyatt to get ready to go out?
Oh, my gosh. You see that hair he's got?
That's his follow-up question, is how much of that time is spent on his hair?
All of it. All of it is.
Oh my God. Oh boy. What was the fishing story that you had?
Oh, so the fishing story. So this is last year, right? And Blake had a really bad habit of hooking into these big fish and yelling about it before he gets it in, like, oh, I got a big fish, all stuff, and then losing it. So at this time, me and our friend Tyler, his name's Tyler Edwards, we're across the lake, and it's my grandma and grandpa's pond. And my grandma and grandpa's pond had like been known over the years to all of us that you wouldn't catch big bass, but you would go there and catch like a decent amount, like where you had a fun day, right? So we go there, and Blake is tossing down the side of the bank. Me and Tyler on the complete other side. This is like a 3-acre long lake, so it's a long walk to Blake. So Blake, all of a sudden, like we hear him just start screaming across the lake, and like we're like, what is going on? And he's like, it's huge. It's huge. So first off, what I said was, that's what she said. No, I'm just kidding. So then he's fighting with it, and he gets it in, and he's like screaming when he gets it in. He's like, this thing is huge. It's a giant. And me and Tyler are like, right, yeah, let's get over there and see. Let's see how huge this thing is. And we get over there, and this thing is like triple the size of any bass Blake has ever even seen in his entire life. And we're like, oh my God. And he's like jumping up and down and screaming. And it was just funny because like we were all across the lake, and there was one other guy there. I can't remember his name. It was somebody Tyler brought with him. But we were all just like laughing on the way over there because we were like, "Oh yeah, let's see how big this pass is, Blake Scott. Let's see it." And oh my God, it was like bigger than all of ours at that lake ever. And we were like, "Okay, all right, Blake."
So in the end, it really was what she said.
Yes, it was.
All right, so Blake, so IU and the Eagles, we touched on that. I want to get to something here, and he's not here to defend himself right now. He's here in the chat. He's listening to the interview for sure. Playing underneath Coach Buck. What is it like to play underneath Coach Buck? That's going to be the first question. I got a couple follow-ups, so.
Amazing, man. I could not ask for a better coach. I mean, he's always there. You know, he knows the fundamentals. We all know he knows the fundamentals. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better guy to be a mentor, and then also, like, you know, he knows the game so well. And he was a linebacker coach and D-line coach, and, you know, there was a couple of times he's like, "Hey, man, how would you like to come play on the D-line?" I'm like, "Are you looking at me? Are you kidding me, man?" It's like he'd always believe in me no matter what. You know, when I'd be having a down day because, you know, I played cornerback, but I was cover 2 corner, and, you know, I'd get burnt sometimes because I'm not the fastest guy, but I'd come up to him, you know, I'd be all down, and he'd give me what it took, you know, just focus, you know, you got this, and then, you know, just I couldn't ask for a better coach, you know.
All right, so now that you stroked his ego a little bit, let's talk for real. If you and Buck were in the open field, all right, both covering a wide receiver, who gets burnt first?
Him, obviously. Come on, man. Come on, man.
So
he's not
what
fast enough,
is?
He's not strong enough.
Give me your best story about Buck on the football field.
Oh my gosh. You know, I think the best was just Coach Buck does not back down to anybody. Anybody.
Right.
I think Ray Lewis could come up to Coach Buck and he'd be like, "What do you want, man? You know, what do you want?" And that's the bickering back.
He end up in the back of his trunk.
the bickering back and back and forth with the coach is my favorite part, because that's like my stepdad would tell me stories about the coaches bickering, like you know, going back and forth back in the day, and he kind of brought that back. You know, just, you know, I love that, and, you know, defense against offense, I love that kind of football. That's awesome. That was my favorite memory. You know, because he would always keep that defense alive, and, you know, bicker back and forth with Coach Bragg, and me and Coach Bragg would go at each other.
You got to give me something juicy, man. Give me a time where he just, like, went off on the field. Like, there's got to be a time, like, a referee made him mad, one of the players made him mad, another coach made him mad. There's got to be a time where he just lost his stuff.
It was the players, man. Whenever me and a player would get in a fight on the field, he would tell me, he's like, "Man, I was expecting you to get thrown out of the game there." I was in a fight. I remember in the Seymour game, and I was trying so hard not to get in a fight and get thrown out, but he was like, "Man, I don't know how you didn't just get thrown out there. I would have." You know, it's just, you know, it's a constant, stuff like that. He's just an instigator, huh? You know,
all right.
Yes, exactly. He loved to instigate. Still does.
So Timothy Leonard comes in and throws a shot at you here. He says, "Blake, are you currently in a haunted house?" Asking because of the horror I see on the walls behind you.
Oh my gosh! Come on, man.
Brian Pirtle comes in and says he got ejected from the Bedford game.
Yes, yeah. I thought Blake was going to mention that. Buck came in and said B&L game, onside kick, LOL. That's what he said.
What happened there? What happened there?
How did you forget that?
I forget that, man? I don't know how I forget. That was amazing. Like 3 coaches got thrown out. Buck was the first one, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe the second one. But God, that's just another example. You don't back down to anybody. And I think it was some onside kick. I can't remember.
Was it Buck or was it Smith that flipped off the ref?
Oh my God! I mean, it was Buck.
What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, it was Buck. Yeah, it had to be Buck. So how bad did he go off? And what happened? What was the scenario? Like what happened here?
I was on the other side of the field, but all I remember is looking over and seeing Buck yelling at this referee, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I remember there've been trash calls all game. And anybody knows you go to BNL, you live around here, you're going to get crap calls all game. I don't even remember.
Buck just chimed
got
in.
in there.
There's Buck.
Yeah, they are asking me to tell the full story and the true story and nothing but the truth. So here is what happened. We line up for a onside kick. Okay, so we recover the onside kick, and then the referee blows the play dead, saying that the ball was out of bounds. I calmly walk up to the ref and say, well, if the ball went out of so I'm very passive aggressive. Like, I will look at you and say that you're a dumb fuck, but like, I'm really like, very, very passive about it. And then like I said, well, if the ball went out of bounds, there is a flag and there is a re-kick. And then like, he's like, no, there is no flag. I'm like, well, then we get the ball. No, because we covered because you recovered it out of bounds. I'm like, no. So then there's a flag. Like, what is the rule here? And then this guy, so like I'm 6'2", and this referee's like 5'5", 110 pounds. Little man syndrome took over, and like he starts to like pump up his chest. You need to sit your ass down, coach. You are being very, very aggressive. I'm like, you need to shut your effing mouth, go do your goddamn job, and call the freaking flag. and like I never got excited. I said it just like that, and then his little 5-foot ass walks into the middle of the field. Like, this is like 15 minutes, right? And like they're like talking back and forth, and like I'm getting mad at because like we were not supposed to be good like this year, like at all. Like, we're supposed to be like 4-6 or like whatever. And we were down by 4 or 5, like at that point, and we were driving and we were doing really, really well. And then I raised my voice, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I said. Hey, you fucking midget, make the correct call and throw the fucking flag or give us the ball. And and then he walked over and well, actually he didn't walk over. He sent the taller referee over, the 5'7" referee over. Like I said, you need to calm down and you need to go to the locker room. I'm like, well, the game's not over, so you can suck it, and I'm not leaving. And then shortly after that, I got ejected. I had to finish watching the rest of the game from the locker room. And then I had to take a proper coaching class of like how not to be aggressive. Yeah.
Oh my God! How is this the first time we are hearing this story?
What's that?
Do you regret it? Let me ask you.
Do I regret
it?
No, I don't regret anything that I ever done in my whole entire life. So. Would I do it again? I would do it again in a heartbeat, but definitely be more aggressive about it. Because like I think that was like my 5th or 6th game coaching ever at a high school like game. So like I was still kind of like, because like like when you start like a new job, like you kind of want to be like standoffish and like make a good impression. Well, I was still trying to make that good impression, but like if it was like last year, I would have been tossed in the first quarter. Like no, seriously, like the very first play of the game, they ran a 5-yard out to the sideline. The ball skipped off the hash, skipped 5 yards into the guy's arm, and they called it a complete pass. Like,
oh my God, that is amazing. All right, so Blake, thank you for joining us, bud. We appreciate it. We're gonna have you on again, I'm sure, here in the future. Guys. I appreciate it, man. We love talking trash, especially to the Eagle fans.
Blake, one question, though.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
What's up?
What was your favorite memory playing in high school ball?
What was my favorite memory in what? Football?
Yep. Playing.
Favorite memory, man. Let's see. Probably that regional game. I mean, I've never been so pumped up for a game. I mean, really every game. You all know who Brian Dawkins is. Tell me who he is, right? Every single game, I would watch Brian Dawkins hype up, and I would get so pumped up before every single game. So, I mean, really, it's every single game, man. I got to find something to give me that adrenaline again because there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it.
Yeah, man, I can understand. I mean, Brian Dawkins was a part of those, really good 4-12 Eagles teams. I mean, that would pump me up too.
Get
those
out of
4-12
here,
teams
man.
were amazing.
Get out of
So,
here.
thank you for joining us, Blake. We'll talk to you later, buddy.
See you, big guy.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No
Say so. I just want to
awesome.
mention here, Brian Pirtle, you saw in the chat a bunch. Brian is his stepdad, who he was talking about with like the awesome basement and stuff. He was in here supporting Coach Buck in here, saying Coach Buck rocks. He talking about the ref. He deserved it for sure. It was a terrible call.
Nana in there with love for Blake for sure.
It was a terrible call. Nana loves Blake for sure.
But yeah, no, hey, look, man, some good stuff there. Lots of good stories. We found out that.
Hang on, guys, 1 second. Before I got to go back into the meeting situation here. I mean, if you recover a onside kick and they call it that you recovered it out of bounds, there has to be a flag on the play, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because either the ball went out of bounds or you
not
get
in
the
the
onside
NFL.
kick.
Not in the NFL.
If the ball
In
goes out of
NFL,
bounds,
it is a flag. But if it's on an onside kick, the receiving team gets the ball in the NFL.
There is still a flag, though.
Yeah, there's still a flag, but it is still it's not re-kicked though. It's not.
Yeah, but there's still a flag on the play, and you have the
Yes.
opportunity to re-kick or take the ball at the position. So that was my biggest beef. Is there
That's the high school rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean,
I know I'm not wrong. I know my rules.
We have a thing as referees. So I ref hockey and I ump baseball, and I've done it for a long time. And we've got a saying for the fans, and we've got a saying for the coaches. The fans are the idiots in the stands. We always go back in the locker room. What do the idiots and the fans in the stands say today?
That's cute.
When we're talking about coaches, we say, what do the idiots on the sidelines say today? Because they're always right. The thing you have to understand about referees is, we are looking at – our job is to look in a certain spot depending on what our position is. And so sometimes you may not see something that happened.
So the ball goes past the referee's face, and he calls it. We recovered it out of bounds. Was he looking in the correct spot? I'm just asking for a friend. At this point.
He had a different angle, and maybe he saw it a different way. I'm not saying that this guy was right. It was probably a horrible call. You're probably right, because it seems like everybody agrees with
still
you.
A flag.
But I'm just saying that sometimes the referees are either in a bad position.
Combs, if you agree with the referee one more time, I'm kicking you right in the jugular.
And so we're going to go ahead and move on without Bucky's got to get back to his meeting here. So we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back from break, we are going to go ahead and get into some of your guys' favorite stuff here, which is Ain't Nobody Got Time for That. So we will be right back. Give us a couple minutes. right, guys, welcome back to the Man Hour. Make sure if you have not checked it out yet, go ahead and share over on Facebook, share on the YouTube page, hit that like button, head over to manhourradio.com. If you are not yet a member of Man Hour Nation, you definitely need to become a member of Man Hour Nation. Starting next week, starting Sunday actually, we will start having our after party shows. And after 6 months of subscription, you do go ahead and get your money back. Which you guys did not, or not your money back, I'm sorry. You go ahead and get a hoodie. Got thrown off here by going back and forth with Buck in the text message. I told Buck in the text, I said, in the end, there was no flag. You didn't get the ball back. And you had to watch the rest of the game from the locker room. So clearly the referee was correct. In the end, the ref is always correct. So, anyways... are you guys ready for Ain't Nobody Got Time for That?
Yep.
Wyatt?
Let's do it.
Wyatt, you with us, buddy?
I am. I thought you were. I didn't know who you were referencing.
Hey, guys, look.
This
is why we are live, raw, and uncut, because we start talking. Wyatt kind of tunes us out and does whatever it is that he's doing behind the scenes. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's probably talking to Blake, asking him to make sure the lights are on after the show's over so he doesn't get scared walking down to make himself a sandwich or something. But we are here. It is time for Ain't Nobody Got Time for That. The first one we're going to get into here, I was watching a little bit of ESPN First Take today, and they had on Dan Orlovsky. And they asked Dan Orlovsky the question about Dak Prescott. They said, look, if you are the Dallas Cowboys, do you pay Dak Prescott or do you franchise tag him? And Dan Orlovsky's statement is, and I quote, you don't pay a good player great player money. And then he reiterated, you don't pay a good player great player money. And this got me thinking. This is a quarterback who spent his time running out of bounds, looking for a wide open receiver as he's running out of bounds. He must have ran about 15 yards out of bounds while looking for a wide open receiver and still thinking he can throw the ball. Yeah. So he didn't know where he was on the field. And then the following week, I think he did the same thing again. I'm pretty sure it was pretty close the following week to doing the same thing again, or he at least took a safety by putting a foot out of bounds. Talking about Dak Prescott only being a good player and not a great player. Let me tell you right now, Dak Prescott is a top 5, maybe top 6 quarterback in the league. I put him just a step below Deshaun Watson. Just a step below Deshaun Watson. To me, if you're going to trade Deshaun Watson, and then if the Cowboys decided to trade Dak, they should be looking for just about the same deal that Houston gets for Deshaun Watson. Dak Prescott last year got injured, and we've said this before on the show. He got injured and then still led the league in passing for another 4 weeks. Like, that is incredible. So to sit there and say this, you can't pay a good player great money, from a guy coming from Dan Orlovsky, it is absolutely insane, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I first off, I don't even know where he could come up with that, because Dak, I don't have Dak Prescott as high as you have him. I definitely don't have him one step below Deshaun Watson. Nothing against Dak. I like Dak. I'm a big supporter of Dak and his road to recovery that we're about ready to see. But with that being said, I don't know how you could say that in your right mind and seriously think that Dak Prescott is not a great player. Go watch the tape. Go watch the film. He led the league in passing yards for most of the season, and he didn't even play. Does that tell you anything? I mean, you can't just be a good or okay, decent player, whatever you want to say, and have a statistic like that. He's a great player. He really is. He is a franchise quarterback. Yeah. And if he gets the right support around him and he can get some big wins in the playoffs, we could be talking about a possible Hall of Fame career down the road. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to need some more playoff wins. We're going to need a Super Bowl win, maybe 2, to get there. Not saying he's there yet or anywhere close to that. But this is a guy that has potential to be that great. This is a guy that has the potential to be a Pro Bowler most of his career. I mean, not on top of that, his rookie year, he went 13-3 alongside Zeke in that incredible season that they had. I just don't know how you could look at him and not think that he is a great player. and look at the stats and not think he's a great player. Watch the way he plays, who he's throwing to, all that good stuff, and not think that he is a great player, because he definitely is.
Started out as it was going against Dan Orlovsky, and I was irate about what he had said earlier. And then Brian Pirtle comes in with Dak is ranked just behind Carson Wentz. Yes. You are an Eagles fan, sir. You are an Eagles fan. Tori Anderson says Dak is another RG. Oh my God. You know what, guys? You're behind Carson Wentz and being another RG3. You know what I have to say about that?
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
All right, guys, and the next one we're going to get into is Colin Cowherd and his
God,
and his co-host came out with their mock draft today, and to say that it is comical, I guess is the best way to describe it. I mean, asinine
it's
would be another way to describe this. But let me just run through these picks real quick. We have Trevor Lawrence going number 1 overall. That was DJ's pick. Then you got Kyle Pitts going to the Jets. That's Colin Cowherd's pick. You have Jamar Chase at 3 going to the Dolphins. Linebacker Micah Parsons going to the Falcons at 4. You have offensive lineman Rashawn Slater going ahead of Penei Sewell to the Bengals. You have Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, going to the Eagles. Quarterback Zach Wilson going to the Lions. Quarterback Justin Fields going to the Panthers. Caleb Farley, cornerback, going to the Broncos. Patrick Surtain II going to the Cowboys. That's the top 10. Penei Sewell goes 11th to the Giants.
It's bad.
The
only ones I agree with on here.
Thinking?
The only ones I agree with on here is Trevor Lawrence at 1. Jamar Chase at 3 isn't bad. Jalen Waddle could go 6 to the Eagles. That is a possibility. Patrick Surtain to the Dallas Cowboys is not a too far of a stretch. Other than that, I mean, they have Devonta Smith going 15th. He is a top 10 guy for sure. We've seen a wide receiver fall every year. That's definitely a possibility.
Penei Sewell, if he falls to 11,
that's the biggest one.
The Giants will have so many teams calling them to trade up at 11. Like, they will be having so many opportunities to trade out of that draft pick. It is unbelievable. Kyle Pitts going at 2? Look, I love Kyle Pitts. I really do. But you're the Jets and you're rebuilding. You're rebuilding that offensively. You're not coming out with a tight end. Look, these guys are supposed to be professionals. They did something extremely stupid. And the only thing I could say is...
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
All right, and the last one we're going to get to here. Bryce Harper says the NL East is going to be baseball's best division here. And my thing is, how is Bryce Harper going to talk about anything being the best in baseball? Bryce Harper is a guy who got a major contract, who was grossly overpaid, has had 2 good seasons since he's been in the league for the 9 years that has been worth that contract, 7 seasons where he's underperformed that contract, and he's going to come out talking about this is going to be the best in the league. Bryce Harper, shut your mouth. Maybe try to get the Phillies to the playoffs, something you haven't been able to do in your first 2 years there. And try to get everybody to forget the fact that the Nationals got rid of you and then won the World Series in the same year. You are not the guy that I want to be hearing. The NL East is going to be... No, it's not. The top 2, maybe 3 teams in the NL East are going to be really good. But guess what? Your Phillies aren't one of them.
No, and that's crazy. Here's the deal. If you think anybody other than the AL West is going to be the best division in baseball. Clearly, you have no clue what a baseball is, because they have the two best teams in baseball in the same division. I mean, you've got the Dodgers and the Padres sitting there. Those are the 1 and 2. Those are the two people that are going to be battling to go to the World Series, and it's going to be incredible. I can't wait to watch. I mean, first off, I agree with you 100%. I don't know how Bryce Harper is even allowed to mention anything being a top, because he hasn't been a top of anything except for like the 2 or 3 good seasons he had with the Nationals. He's the most overhyped athlete of all time, without a doubt. That's the first thing I said about his big contract he got. He is not worth that. The Philadelphia Phillies, record wise, were better without him than they were with him in his first season.
Yeah.
So, and this is a guy that you're bringing in that is supposedly a top 2, top 3 guy, maybe even the top guy in all of baseball.
Yeah. It's absolutely asinine that they gave him that contract. And I mean, for him to sit there and say that the NL East is going to be the best division in baseball.
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I also want to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I just realized Timothy Leonard said this. That was my bad. I didn't even realize I said AL West. I meant to say NL West. That was my bad on that one. But yes, in any way, shape, and the AL West is good as well. So either way, still both divisions are better than pretty much any division in all of baseball. So I wanted to say
AL
that. But
West
yes,
is
my
going
bad.
to be my sleeper division. I really like the AL West this year. But yeah, he's right. Timothy Leonard also said, "Hey, Eagle fans, Derrick Henry still has more postseason touchdowns than Wentz."
Oh man, Titans fans talking out here.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we get back from break, we are going to get into some of today's headlines and chat with you guys about that stuff. So we will be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to the Man Hour. If you have not gone over to Man Hour Radio yet, check it out. Click on the merchandise tab. Get yourself some cool Man Hour swag. Join the after the Man Hour Nation. Get yourself $5 a month. Will get you a free hoodie after 6 months, and as well, it'll get you free access to the After Hours show. Also, get you some access to our great content. We got some good writers with us here. Tim Leonard here is one of them. Got a lot of good articles out there, so come out, check out the blogs, check out some merchandise, and get yourself some good swag. Let's get into some headlines for today. One of the big ones here, and we've been talking about it all day. I know I talked about it actually with a couple of our listeners here who messaged me on Facebook about it, especially Drew. We have Russell Wilson, who says that he would be willing to come to the Bears. I believe it's up to 7 teams now that he's okay with, but the Bears were one of them. And the other one that's been rumored to in a trade with the Bears, all of a sudden came out of left field, if you ask me. But Baker Mayfield to the Bears, look, the Baker Mayfield to me makes more sense than Russell Wilson, because if I'm Russell Wilson, I don't want any part of the Bears organization. Baker Mayfield makes sense to me because the Bears, in order to get him, are going to have to overpay right now. So you're going to overpay for a white quarterback who is very inconsistent and who is never going to win you a Super Bowl. That is as Bears as you can get. And so I don't know about you, Wyatt, but I don't feel like, for one, I don't think Baker Mayfield's available. So I think that is nonsense, if you ask me. Russell Wilson saying I'd be okay with going to the Bears, that surprises me a little bit. I mean, doesn't that surprise you?
I mean, kind of, but not really at the same time, because, Russell Wilson wants to go to a team that is a quarterback away, and I think the Bears are really in that situation. A lot of people like to bring up the really big issue they have, and that's the only issue they have, is the offensive line. But when you look at his offensive line in Seattle, the Bears have just as good, just as bad, however you want to call it, as the offensive line out in Seattle. And he's an MVP candidate for certain parts of the season. Sure, he had some inconsistencies, but that's not his fault. I blame all that on the coaching staff. They wouldn't let him cook there toward the end of the year. They literally call him, they say let Russ cook. They didn't let Russ cook, and all of a sudden he drops out of the MVP conversation. Seattle drops to not as good as they are potentially able to be.
But that's been par for the course for him for the last 3 seasons, though.
Absolutely,
I mean,
and I think that's been the issue.
Halves.
But when you look at Seattle, I can tell you exactly what he's looking for here. Think about the last time that he had a mediocre offensive line, a good wide receiver core, and a great defense. What happened when Russell Wilson had that? He won a Super Bowl. Then he went to the Super Bowl. Then he went to the NFC Championship and lost. So, I mean, Russell Wilson is that quarterback that the Bears would need. I mean, he's a scrambling guy. And if Matt Nagy is willing to let Russell Wilson, we've seen that so much with the last couple of years with quarterbacks, let the quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, the guys who are good enough to call those shots, let them call those shots. They know what they're doing. They can read defenses on their own. There are some certain guys, in the NFL that, frankly, don't need a coach. No, nothing against Matt LaFleur. I love the guy. I think he's done great stuff ever since he's been in Green Bay. But at the end of the day, do the Packers really need Matt LaFleur? No, Aaron Rodgers calls the offensive plays, and then last year, the DC called all the plays defensively. LaFleur stands there to make decisions, of course. He gets his opinion in there here and there.
Decisions like kick the field goal and then not
you know what?
kick it in the
exactly. That's why we let Aaron Rodgers make decisions. That's why Aaron Rodgers makes decisions, okay? That's why. But anyways,
you mean like the decision to not run it in and throw an incompletion at the end of the interception?
He would not have made it on that play.
I'm just trying to get...
He would have got close. Anyways, Russell Wilson's one of those guys that you let make decisions. He's the guy that you let run it around and drop it deep somewhere. He's an incredibly accurate guy with the deep ball. What do they call it? The sky ball, where it just goes straight up and drops lob perfectly right where they need it. He has the most beautiful deep ball in the league right now, I think, in my opinion, absolutely. I mean, he drops it right where you need it perfectly at the perfect spot. And who else to think at wide receiver than Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson is the biggest unsung hero in all of the National Football League. The guy is a top 10 wide receiver every single year of his career that he's been healthy and been on the field all 16 games. And look at who's been throwing to him. His best quarterback at the moment is Blake Bortles. Think about that. Blake Bortles is the best quarterback that has ever thrown him a ball. That's mind-boggling that he is still as good as he is. So put a guy like Russell Wilson there. Put a guy that's experienced. Put a guy that can put a ball on a dime. Put a guy there that can run around, get you a bunch of yardage, and then or if he needs to scramble and then drop a dime downfield to Allen Robinson. Put a guy like that there. It's going to be lethal. It's going to be deadly. I know as a Packers fan, I don't want to see that. But I think the Bears and Russell Wilson makes a ton of sense. It's exactly the system that he used to be in. But with that being said, I know I just hyped all this up and all that stuff. I don't think there's any way. I think that Baker Mayfield
I don't think so either.
Heading to Chicago is a bigger chance than Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson right now is just trying to scare Seattle into getting him a better defense, into getting him a better offensive line, because he realizes, okay, his career is not always going to be there. He's not always going to be young, and he's not always going to be, a scrambling, fast, athletic quarterback. Age is going to catch up with him,
Right,
and it already might be. You never know. So, I mean, I get what he's doing here in a way. At the same time, it kind of aggravates me a little bit, but at the same time, I kind of get it, because you can't allow Seattle to just waste your career like that. That's essentially what they're doing. One Super Bowl, then that's it. And you've got that great caliber of a quarterback. And I don't want to say they necessarily wasted his career, but there's definitely more they could have got out of it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just don't see. I don't see the Bears having. I don't see any a quarterback that is worth a damn wanting to come to this organization the way that it's run. We have a horrible owner. We have a horrible GM. We have a coach where we really don't know what we have yet in this coach, because let's be honest, he came into a situation where he was force-fed Mitch Trubisky. And he hasn't really done anything much with the offense. So we already know for one thing's for sure, he can't develop a quarterback. So letting this guy take on a young quarterback would be a mistake. Having a veteran guy come in, yes, I agree. I mean, Russell Wilson does make a ton of sense to the Bears because he's exactly what the Bears would need. But if I'm Russell Wilson, why do I want to do that to myself? There are so many other options out there that you could do where you can make a difference on a team that you could win a Super Bowl with, that I just don't understand why you would want to come to Chicago.
Do you think that Russell Wilson couldn't win a Super Bowl with the Bears? I think he
don't
can.
think that the Bears are
That's coming
suited,
from a Packers fan.
I don't think that the Bears are suited to win a Super Bowl unless they get... I mean, maybe Russell could. I mean, look, the guy's won a Super Bowl already. Probably should have two if it wasn't for Pete Carroll trying to be the smartest guy in the room as a head coach and throwing the pass when they should have just handed it to beast mode on the 1-yard line. He should have 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So maybe he could win with the Bears. I don't have enough faith in the front office to put the weapons around him that he needs to win.
But also you got to think, though, a good quarterback that has his weapons and has his defense and all that stuff sometimes can mask those issues. Sometimes, yes, a head coach is a vital and important part of an offense and all that good stuff. And yes, an owner and GM is very important in your, in your football world of getting players, of all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, sometimes a great quarterback can mask that. I mean, if you think about it, look at the Buccaneers 2 years ago. Complete dysfunction, or even last year, before they won the Super Bowl, still complete dysfunction, not where they want to be anywhere on the field, and they had virtually the same team. They didn't change. Other than they added a right tackle in the draft, they added Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. They added a few other pieces, but it wasn't much. It was vitally the same team, but you add that great quarterback, all of a sudden now you're talking Super Bowl.
Greatest quarterback of all time, though.
Well,
Russell
absolutely.
Wilson is definitely not that. He's shown to be a first half quarterback. He's a first half of the season quarterback. His defense, I'll give him the defense was not very good this year, but he had the weapons on offense to score 30-plus points a game.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, you're not going to have... I love Allen Robinson. I love Darnell Mooney. I love the weapons that the Bears have, but they're not DK Metcalf.
I think Allen Robinson is just as good, if not better, than DK Metcalf. I really do.
You're out of your mind.
Look at his numbers and look.
He can't. I know his numbers. Trust me. I watch the guy every Sunday.
And Mitch Trubisky was throwing to him.
Allen Robinson cannot win a jump ball to save his life. I don't think I've seen him win one jump ball since he's been with the Bears. For being a tall receiver, he does not go up and get the ball. He is not that guy. If he can get there, yes, he can make the catch. If he's open, he can make the catch. But if he's going across the middle and he thinks he's going to take a huge hit, he's gonna drop the ball. If he's got to go up against a defender with a jump ball in the end zone, he's going to lose the jump ball. That's how it, and people will come at me and say, "Look, how can you say that? Allen Robinson has done so much for the Bears, and with what at quarterback." I used to say the same thing about Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey drops a ton of passes. We need to cut our ties with Alshon Jeffrey. Everybody's like, no. And then he goes to the Eagles. You know, what does he do? He continues to drop passes. Like this is what the guy is. That's what he's been throughout his career. I've watched him play enough. I love Allen Robinson. I think the guy is a very good receiver in the NFL. He is not a great receiver in the NFL.
See, I think so is he in your top 10 wide receivers?
Who? Allen Robinson?
Yeah.
No. He was at the beginning of the year. He's not now. I've seen too much of other players that I can't put him in that top 10. He's not in that top tier.
He's got Combs. Come on, he's got to be. Look, I know you disregarded it, but think about it seriously. That's Mitch Trubisky throwing him the ball.
To be honest with you, I'll tell you this. I would have to look at it really closely again and like go through a list of all the receivers and come up with a top 10 to tell you whether or not he's a top 10. Can I name 10 guys off the top of my? Can I name top 10 guys? Can I name 10 guys right now that I want ahead of Allen Robinson? Probably not, because I can't name them off the top of my head. But I do know that there's at least 5 right now off the top of my head.
Sure.
So he might still be a top. I just don't think he is.
Well, but also we can name those 5 guys because those 5 guys, look at their quarterbacks, okay? You got Devontae Adams, okay? Devontae Adams has Aaron Rodgers. Yep. That's the cream of the crop at quarterback. You know, you can't really get any. There's very few quarterbacks.
Passes.
Exactly.
He doesn't drop passes. He doesn't. He wins jump balls. He doesn't drop passes. He goes over the middle. He can catch the ball and take a hit. That's the difference between him and Allen Robinson.
Then you've got DeAndre Hopkins, who has Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a much better quarterback.
But doesn't drop the ball.
Also,
doesn't
DeAndre
drop
Hopkins
passes.
does exactly. Yeah. Then you know, I mean, you got your DK Metcalf, sure, but also DK Metcalf has Russell Wilson throwing to him. He has a guy who can put the ball right where DK can get it, and only DK can get it. I mean, so that's really off the top of my head. Those are the only guys right now I can tell you. I guarantee you are better than Allen Robinson if Allen Robinson had a good quarterback. And at that point, I still don't think, I still think DK could not be. There's a possibility Allen Robinson could be better than DK, absolutely. Because of, like I said, because of Allen I don't think there are 3 wide receivers in this league, 4 wide receivers, maybe 5 that would have.
A freak, man.
He is, absolutely.
He's the next. I really think that DK is the next coming of Megatron. I really do.
I think he's more of a Julio Jones. I think Megatron was a little slow. He has the freakish athletic ability of Julio Jones, the speed of Julio Jones is what I thought.
He's huge like Megatron.
He is. He's huge.
The guy is a freaking monster.
They're both tanks, absolutely.
So I really like DK. I can't put. There's no way I would put it. I tell you right now, Allen Robinson is not ahead of DK Metcalf on my list anyway. Like I can't put him ahead of him because again. He can't win jump balls. DK can. He can't go over the middle and still hang onto a ball while taking a hit. DK can. He's not a dependable wide receiver when the game's on the line, and DK is. And look, man, this is coming from a Bears fan. It's not like I'm trying to find reasons for Allen Robinson to not be good. I want Allen Robinson to be a top 5 wide receiver. I want him to be good. I watch him every week. I know his flaws, and I just don't think that he's there. He's just not there. Heading into the season, I believe I had him 8th or 9th. But I think he fell out of the top 10 this year. I just do. No,
and like I said, I just want to see. I think right now, absolutely, in my book, absolutely, he's a top 10 guy. But if you give him a good quarterback, I think he's a top 5 guy. I really do, just because of how.
Corey Anderson says he's more like Anquan Bolden. DK.
I could see it. I don't think Anquan was as. I think he's better than Anquan Bolden. Honestly, I think Anquan wasn't as dominant of a guy. Not necessarily the guy you would throw it up to every single time. Sure, he could go get those one-on-one balls, but like you said, DK is a freak of nature. But I think as time goes on, we'll see Allen Robinson. If he gets a better quarterback, we'll see the real numbers of what he actually is, because now we're only seeing him as a shell of what he actually is. But here's the thing, though. I don't think we find out what he actually is in Chicago. Now, if Russell Wilson comes to Chicago, I think he'll stay. I really do.
Well, they franchise tagged him, so he's going to be in Chicago.
Sure, but that's only 1 year, though.
Well, they could franchise tag him again next year.
But he can decline to play, though. Can you franchise tag twice?
Yeah. Who the hell just did it? Didn't the Cowboys did it to Dak? Didn't they? 2 times in a row?
I don't know. I think. Did they?
Well, if not, they definitely franchise tagged him last year. And the talk right now is, do you franchise tag him again, or do you pay him? So you could definitely franchise tag twice. There was somebody who I can't remember who it was. Somebody else just got.
I think you are right with Dak. I'll look it up.
So the other thing that we want to get to here, the other headline here, not sure if anybody hasn't. Kirk Cousins got tagged twice in a row.
Okay.
So Albert Pujols has come out and said that 2021 is going to be his final season in Major League Baseball. I'm gonna let you go first, Wyatt, because I've got a lot of stuff to say about Albert Pujols. So
sure.
I'm gonna let you go first. What do you think about Albert Pujols and 2021 being his farewell season?
I'm really excited to sit back and watch. This is my favorite thing when athletes do this. It's of course an emotional thing. It's of course something that, it's a bittersweet moment, because you watch these guys play for so long. They're on your TV for so long. You feel like you're a part of their play, their game for so long, and then it gets taken away from you. So it's heartbreaking for sure. But at the same time, I mean, it's bittersweet to look back at all the memories you have, on how great of a player he was. Myself, I grew up with Albert Pujols, with guys like that, of that generation. I grew up with the big bat. He was, he's a ridiculous hitter. He's on the all-time home runs list for a reason. I mean, it's just, like I said, it is tough to see him go. But at the same time, like I said, it's bittersweet, and I am very happy for him. And this is my favorite thing, when athletes give us the knowing, hey, this is the last season. I like that. I like whenever we get to know, like, hey, we're watching, the last year, where Drew Brees didn't really give us that. Peyton Manning did. Drew Brees still really didn't, but Albert Pujols is letting us know. So I appreciated that, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this coming from a Cubs fan who watched much of Albert's, first half of his career, absolutely annihilating my Chicago Cubs. Like,
yep.
I hated him when he was on the Cardinals, but I still respected the man as a player. It's kind of like a Yadier Molina for me. Albert Pujols is one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Most definitely.
Probably even a top 10 player to ever play the game, to be honest with you. He really is. And people argue that with me, and I go back and forth a lot with big baseball guys who know the game and who love to talk about it all the time. And I always tell them, I'm like, well, he's ahead of Ken Griffey Jr. And everybody's like, whoa. He's Ken Griffey Jr. You're not going to put him ahead of Ken Griffey Jr. But he has a better career batting average than Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. was a 284 lifetime hitter. Albert Pujols is a 299 lifetime hitter.
Yeah, just under 300. That's incredible.
He's got 30 more home runs than Ken Griffey Jr. He's got over 600 more hits than Ken Griffey Jr. He has got 300 plus more RBIs than Ken Griffey Jr. He has scored over 200 more runs than Ken Griffey Jr. Look, Albert Pujols is a surefire Hall of Famer. He is a top 10 guy, and not to mention he did all of this after the testing for steroids has started. You know what I mean? So this is a guy who's constantly tested. He's not a guy we can say, well, what did he use? You know, did he do this? Did he do that? No, this guy is a class act in the game. He has put up all of his numbers with you can't link any steroids to him. You can't link any wrongdoing to him. He's been a class act on and off the field. And this guy is absolutely amazing. And, you know, baseball's going to miss him. I love Albert Pujols. I think he's going to do great in his final season. I think him being on the Angels is really good for him because I think that the Angels are really a sleeper team in baseball this year. I really do. I said this last year, and yes, they got off to a slow start, but they started to heat up. The problem with them last year was they ran into a short season. I think that this is going to be a much better year for them, and I really think that they're going to compete in the American League and possibly even get at least to an ALCS. So, you know, good for him. You know, people will say, you know, it's kind of ticky-tacky to it's kind of ticky-tacky to say you're going to retire and let everybody send you off. You know, it was really frowned upon back, with a lot of the great. You never really heard of this before, maybe, 5-6 years ago, where guys were starting to announce they're retiring before they
Jeter
retire.
did it.
I think Jeter was the start of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I like it. Like, I like the farewells. I like the the fact that I know this is going to be Pujols' last season, so I'm going to be tuned in more to Angels games too, because I want to watch Albert Pujols as he's going out. I want to watch Albert Pujols. I want to watch the greatness that he is, because he is still a guy that can still produce in the game.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the fact that this is about to be, his 21st year in the big leagues.
That's another thing, too, that I like to add to players' greatness is, like, the longevity of how good that they are. And he is one of those guys that, like you said, still produces at this age. After he's been in the league for this long, he still is able to put his team, he's still able to be that guy you can depend on to help out Trout there. He's just so that's the other thing I like to add on is the longevity, and he's definitely got it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And my favorite part about an Albert Pujols is the fact that he is a class act. He's one of those guys who you still see out there during warm-ups. He's still signing autographs. Yeah, I've seen this guy in Chicago in a St. Louis Cardinals uniform, where we absolutely can't stand the other team, sitting there signing autographs before the game and talking with fans. Like, that doesn't happen at Wrigley Field in a Cardinals-Cubs rivalry. But with Albert Pujols, it did. And he brought winning back to that organization. He really did. Like, that organization, they had gone a while without really being relevant, and Albert Pujols made them relevant again. I mean, obviously they had it with Mark McGwire a little bit because of the home run chase, but, the 90s and the early 2000s were not very good to the St. Louis Cardinals, and then all of a sudden comes this kid, Albert Pujols, who brings a new swagger to this team and really, takes Major League Baseball by storm. He used to murder the Cubs, man. I can remember Cubs would come, it'd be like 8th or 9th inning, and the Cubs would have a lead. And Albert Pujols, it seemed like every dang time the Cubs had a lead against the Cardinals, Albert Pujols came out to bat late in the game with a chance to either tie or win the game, and he did just that. He would either tie or win the game. I hated Albert Pujols as a Cardinal, but I love him as a player.
Yeah.
And so
one of those guys you just respect.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him. Tori Anderson chimes in here. Would you say they have an Angels in the outfield? Yes, they do. They do have Angels in the outfield. The Angels have been through some stuff as an organization over the last couple of years too, man. With losing pitchers and having the death. It's really something that hits the team harder than we really know. We got some other things coming in here. He says he's number 3 behind Bonds and Griffey. Jim, I can't go that high with him. I don't even have Griffey that high. I have Bonds at number 1, but I have Babe Ruth right behind him. And then, then we could talk about, who's 3, 4, 5 and all that stuff. But I think 1 and 1A are just Bonds and Ruth are just on a different level than anybody else in the history of this game. Jim Tebow also wants to know what the points are for. Jim, so if you collect points throughout the week, at the end of the week, there's a prize given to whoever has the most points. And whoever has the most points at the end of the week will win the said prize. Buck knows what the prize is. I'd have to ask him what the prize is.
You also forgot when mentioning the top players in baseball all time. You forgot the best player of all time. That's Trevor Bauer.
Go away. God, you can never talk baseball ever again. You've lost your right to talk baseball.
I'm just messing with you.
But at any rate, let's get into some more football here. Torrey Anderson, I never struck out once at the MLB level. Facts. Well, yeah, neither have I.
Me either.
So,
hey, Torrey, and I also started over a D1 left tackle.
Yeah, when you were in kindergarten. So
and 8th grade. That's all that matters,
you were
man.
In kindergarten. Let's go.
Captain of the football team, started over the dude that's now at Ohio State. Like I said, I could be even considered as the greatest football player of all time. You never know.
He's at Ohio State, about to play for the Ohio State, and you are sitting here on Man Hour talking with me. So,
well, you see, that's because Ryan Day offered me to come with him, and I told Ryan that I really love this Man Hour thing. Yeah. And I'm going to have to, I really appreciate the offer, but I'm going to have to politely decline. God. That's what it was, man. I had to.
Drink. At any rate, we're going to move on here. We talked about the draft a little bit, and we talked about, what chip needs to fall in order for, these free agent quarterbacks and the carousel and the trades to all start falling. Let's talk about the draft chip carousel. Let's talk about Zach Wilson. How does Zach Wilson and where he goes affect the draft? Now, this is your bread and butter.
It's everything.
So hit me with some knowledge. And it better not be no Trevor Bauer knowledge either.
It is everything. He is everything for this draft. Everybody knows that first pick is Trevor Lawrence. Whether if you like Trevor Lawrence, whether if you hate Trevor Lawrence, whether if you don't care, whatever it is, Trevor Lawrence is that number 1 overall pick. I think it is a 99.9% chance he is that number 1 overall pick. But with that being said, Zach Wilson is the hot commodity there at the second one. We could see all kinds of crazy stuff. We could see teams trade up to that second pick and get him. We could see teams get him at the 4th pick because we're starting to see that. We're starting to see a lot of people show some interest in Zach Wilson because he went to BYU. He didn't go to a bigger school, so a lot of people don't really know about him. So now that people are starting to be like, oh, this kid's good, let me go watch his tape. Then you watch his tape and you're like, wow, this kid is really good. Yeah. So people are really starting to discover him. They're starting to find out who he is, what he is, how he plays, all that good stuff. And they're starting to find out that this kid legitimately is a NFL ready quarterback. And I think that Zach Wilson could be the best quarterback in this draft in the future because of it's the same thing as Patrick Mahomes. He's not gonna go to the Jaguars where there's there's nothing there, and there's no pieces around him. It's gonna be Zach Wilson going to a team that is a quarterback and maybe 2 or 3 pieces away. So over the next couple of years, they can stitch it all together. Then he has a good career, or even maybe this year everything works out and they take off, and he's a great asset to the team that he goes to. But with that being said, we could see him go second to the Jets. We could see him go 4th to the Falcons. We could see the Falcons trade up to the 2nd pick and take him. We could see the Panthers trade up to the 2nd pick and take him. The Broncos, the Bears, the Patriots. There are so many teams out there right now that genuinely could trade up to that 2nd pick, to the 4th pick, and get him. It will all depend on how the draft stock goes as we get a little closer. We're still about a month and a half, 2 months out. We still got to have everybody's pro days before we really make big decisions on that. But we have, another team, the Texans. The Texans could trade Deshaun Watson to the Jets and then get that 2nd pick, and then they could sit firmly and take him there. So it will all depend on how the pro days and all that stuff comes out. But like I said, The kid has the potential to be the best quarterback in this draft, without a doubt. I don't think anybody can argue that. I mean,
yeah,
go look at all I gotta say is just go look at his highlight tape.
If he does go second to the Jets, do you see teams like the Panthers, the Eagles, the Lions, the Panthers?
They're going to panic.
Are they going to panic? And all of a sudden, are we going to see 5 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks?
No, not just that. Not just that. At that 4th pick, the Atlanta Falcons. I was talking to Drew, a big listener of the show today. The Atlanta Falcons are taking a quarterback in this draft. There's not a doubt in my mind. If they don't,
so
it will
take
seriously.
Mac Jones at 4 if he goes to 2.
No, Justin Fields. I think they take Justin Fields at that 4th overall pick.
You still like Justin Fields over Mac Jones? Huh?
I will always like Justin Fields over Mac Jones. I think Justin Fields is another guy in this draft that could be the best quarterback out there. Justin Fields has some issues with staying in the pocket for too long, has some issues with reading for a little bit too long, but you can't deny the athletic ability. You can't deny his big arm. You can't deny his precision accuracy. You can't deny his accolades and accomplishments at Ohio State. You can't deny the stats. I mean, he was an incredible quarterback. He threw what, 2 interceptions his entire first year at Ohio State? 2 interceptions. That's it. That's incredible as it is. And I mean, he against IU this year, that was his one bad game of his college career against IU. He threw more interceptions in that game than he did his entire first season at Ohio State. So you tack on that he only had one bad game ever. Justin Fields genuinely could be the best quarterback in this draft. Absolutely. So I think we have 3 quarterbacks taken in the first 5 picks. I think there's a huge chance of that. And depending on who trades up and who trades out, we could seriously see even 5 quarterbacks go in those 5 picks, because quarterbacks in this draft are all we have 5 or 6 franchise quarterbacks in this draft, and teams will panic once they see 3 of them go off the board in the first 5 picks. They're going to freak out. And then at the 8th pick, you got to think you got Carolina there. So Carolina will take Trey Lance most likely. There's 4 quarterbacks off the board in the top 10 picks. Then all that's left is Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. That means we could see Kyle Trask go in the first round now. I've seen a lot of people having him taken in the 3rd round. I personally don't have him in the first round, not because I don't like him or anything about that. I think he is, once again, another one of those quarterbacks that could be a top guy in this draft. But I think Kyle Trask, there's something going on there with the draft experts that we don't see. But I look at all these mock drafts. I like to look at other mock drafts and study them and make my own off my decisions, as well as what I study from other ones. But I see all these people taking Trask not in the first round. I saw one the other day on NFL Network. He was in the 3rd round to the Vikings with the 14th overall pick in the 3rd round. So, I mean, but when you see all these quarterbacks go off, you're going to see teams panic. You're going to see teams like, oh, there's 2 guys left that seriously could be franchise guys. We need to get them now. So then Mac Jones will go most likely in the top 20.
So then let me ask you this. You say you'll always like Justin Fields more than Mac Jones, correct?
Yes.
The 2021 national title game, who was that played between?
Ohio State and Alabama.
All right. Who won that game?
Alabama.
By a large margin, correct?
Yes.
Who was the quarterback for Ohio State?
Injured Justin Fields.
Okay. Who was the quarterback for Alabama?
Mac Jones with a Heisman candidate and another Heisman candidate.
Okay. So Mac Jones, and I love how you're cushioning it with excuses here, but Mac Jones goes out and goes 36 of 45 for 464 yards and 5 touchdowns, while Justin Fields goes 17 of 33 for 194 yards. Yes. So I don't understand, and I've said this from the beginning. This is just before now. Like, I'm not high on Justin Fields, just like I'm still not high on Trevor Lawrence. What have you seen out of Justin Fields, especially when they go head to head, that you haven't seen out of Mac Jones? Like, to me, Mac Jones is clearly a better pick and is probably going to be ready to play quicker than Justin Fields is in the NFL at that level.
So the big thing that I'm looking at here, I don't like to base an entire career and all that stuff off of a game. So Mac Jones did play better than Justin Fields in the national championship. I mean, everybody saw it. There's no denying that. But leading up to that, Mac Jones, in my opinion, that even that entire season, I don't think was as good. Even whenever we saw the cracks and the flaws show a little bit in Justin Fields' game, we didn't see, Mac Jones still, I don't think, was better than Justin Fields that season. That was Mac Jones' first year. Teams hadn't really got a bunch of film on him before that because it was all Tua and Jalen Hurts before that. And also on top of that, he had Jalen Waddle and he had Devonta Smith he was throwing to. He had a Heisman candidate, or he had the Heisman winner, and then he had Jalen Waddle, who if would have been healthy, would have been a Heisman candidate. Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, he didn't play most of the season. He played one game, and we're already talking about him going in the top 10 of the draft. That just shows how good that Waddle is. The Alabama receiver coach, I forgot what his name was, but he was talking about it after the national championship. He was saying, what if Jalen Waddle wouldn't have got hurt? Jalen Waddle, in his opinion, was better than Devonta Smith at the beginning of the year, whenever they were looking at their, before he got hurt and all that good stuff. But, so it's on top of the weapons he had. The fact that I think Justin Fields had less games to get ready because of how the Big Ten played out the year. The Big Ten royally screwed up this year for Ohio State altogether. That's why they let them in, was because of how bad they screwed everything up, putting that game restriction on there where it literally came down to the fact that Michigan backed out of a game so that Ohio State couldn't get in. So once you tack that on, there was a lot of stuff he was dealing with that. He got hurt really bad. I mean, we all saw that rib shot he took in the semifinals. And the guy literally got ejected for it. I can't remember what his name was. It was that Clemson linebacker. But he got ejected for it, so he was playing with hurt ribs.
I don't want to hear, he got hit hard, and you're going to get hit hard a lot in the NFL, and you're a smaller guy, as Justin Fields is. When I watch quarterbacks in the NFL, I want to see toughness. I want to see grit. I know you're hurt. I know it hurts, but I want to see you be able to go out there and do what needs to be done for your team to put on a win.
He did, though. That loss wasn't his fault.
No, he did not. He threw for 100 and something yards. He didn't even reach 200 yards passing.
Alabama's defense was incredible.
He was 17 of 33 in passing. Okay? Well, yeah, Alabama's defense was incredible. What are you going to run into in the NFL? You think you're going to run into defenses that are worse than Alabama?
Well, no, but you're also going to have you're also going to have a better wide receiver than just Chris Olave. That's all he had.
When I watched Matthew Stafford go out and win a game and throw a touchdown pass with a separated shoulder, I don't want to hear, but I got hit hard 2 weeks ago. I don't want to hear it.
He played with bruised and broken ribs as quarterback.
Yep.
Have you ever thrown a football with broken ribs?
Matthew Stafford played with a broken back and went out and won a game.
And Justin Fields,
I don't know
Justin Fields beat Clemson on bruised and broken ribs.
Oh my God. Yeah, and who did he beat? Trevor Lawrence, the guy who's going number 1 and who I say is a bust. Go figure.
Oh my Lord.
Couldn't recover from his 3 interceptions.
We should not allow Bears
3 interceptions in a game. You know who else threw 3 interceptions in a game?
Who?
Freaking Tom Brady, and he went to the Super Bowl and then won that game too.
Yeah,
so,
you know what? We're not going to talk about that game that he threw 3 picks in, okay? We're moving on from that. Okay, because like I said, me and Kevin King, you put it out there on Twitter, I will have a UFC match with Kevin King. I'm serious. But anyways, back to the point here. The biggest thing I don't like about Mac Jones is he had a great national championship, but before that, we saw a lot of.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, sorry. Hit the wrong button there.
Yeah, no.
At any rate, we've got to go ahead and get to another break, and then when we come back, and we will have some shop talk. So, guys, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you want to talk about. This guy's over here talking about a quarterback who went up against another quarterback and only threw for 140 yards is better than that quarterback. I don't know what he is smoking, but I digress. We will be back. Give us a couple minutes. Welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Look, it's been a great show. We've had a lot of good conversation. We had a special guest on. We talked about how the Eagles were garbage and Carson Wentz is not a top 10 quarterback. At least I think that's how that conversation went. We also learned that Wyatt Williams is afraid of the dark and once got left stranded naked while screaming for his principal at school.
That is a true story. I will confirm that. And I wasn't at school. We were in DC, so.
And we also learned that Buck once called a ref a midget and told him to F off as he got ejected from a game. So,
hey, here's the deal, man. Football is a very passionate game. If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. You know?
So. Yeah, absolutely. So we got some stuff coming in on the chat line. Let's get through some stuff. We've kind of neglected the chat a little bit here tonight, I think. So Buck comes in and says, huge shout out to my wife for being so strong. Maybe he'll tell us later what she did. Penelope throws some hearts in there. Big Ten screwed up, period. Yeah, I mean, look, Ohio State didn't belong in the conference title game, let alone.
Oh my God, they beat Clemson. They went to the national championship.
They didn't even play enough games to qualify for their conference championship, and they had to bend the rules to let them in.
But nonetheless, they still won those games. They made it to the national
Big Ten
championship.
Screwed over Indiana. Yes, they did. Indiana had more wins than Ohio State.
Ohio State beat Indiana. True or false? True. Next question.
True or false? Indiana had more wins than Ohio State.
But one of those was not to Ohio State. False.
True or false? They had more wins than Ohio State.
That is true, but they played more games.
True or false? They played enough games to qualify for their conference title.
True.
True or false? Ohio State did not play enough games to qualify for their conference title game.
False.
Oh,
they moved
that
it.
That's true. You're an idiot. Football Kid Murray says you should bring her on here one night to say hi. I think he's talking about Cindy, Buck's wife.
Yeah.
Drew says Ohio State had no business being in the championship game. I agree.
No other team did. Alabama was the best team in the nation. Ohio State was the second best team in the nation. We all saw that.
Buck said she puts the boys to bed and then works on our puzzle. Football Kid Murray says that's cute. She's got her hands full. Buck says Williams versus King. Tori Anderson with the comment of the night says, quick question. Are farts supposed to be lumpy?
Yikes. You need to go check yourself
Hershey
in
squares,
the bathroom.
Buddy. You better go check for Hershey squares.
Yeah, that's issues.
Brian Pardo with the claps.
Brian, you're the man. That's Blake's stepdad.
Tori has, I have determined Buck has rigged his game against me after my quadrillion output. So,
Tori, I don't want to hear it, man. You had like 10 bajillion, a number I can't even explain.
Yeah, like you had enough points to win for the rest of the year.
You are officially the GOAT of points, my man. There is no reason to be upset. Hey, and you're the GOAT because you're a Packers fan too, so that's all that matters.
I disagree. Tori says, my wife and I decided to not have kids. The kids are taking it pretty hard. That is amazing in itself. I love it. Penelope says volleyball is a passionate sport too.
Oh God,
I agree,
Nana.
Especially when you are using extra body parts to hit the ball, Nana.
Jesus,
God, I love your Nana, man. She is amazing.
I love her too, but Nana, you gotta
look
reel back in with these volleyball comments.
Nana, you're gonna have to hit me up after the show because we got a we've got a sponsor that I need to talk to you about.
Oh God,
I'm
no.
not sure if we can use the promo code on the air or not. With the radio station coming up, but that sponsor came to us because of the segment that we had yesterday and talking about the volleyball. So hit me up in the PM. I'll let you know what that one is, and I'll let you know whether or not we can use it once we find out. Brian says, "Good show, guys." Nikki Wilson, what happened against Clemson?
Yeah, that's right. What happened against Clemson? IO.
Yeah, what happened against Clemson? The number one overall pick showed
Clemson.
The number one overall pick showed that he couldn't even beat a bad Big Ten team. That
it's the second best team in the nation.
He's going to be a bust in the NFL.
Stacy's won the last 2 weeks, though.
That's not at. That's from your nana yesterday.
Oh, God.
Playing volleyball. Yes.
Jesus.
Yes, Penelope. A&E, they want to be a sponsor.
Oh, my
so,
God. All right, I am logging off the show. Combs has got this for the last 9 minutes. I'm out of here.
All you have to do is hit me up, and I can see if we can get that promo code going as Wyatt leaves us. Oh, he's back. Hey, Wyatt, what's going on? So
I need to take a minute to cry.
All right, so we've pretty much touched on everything today. The one thing that we haven't really touched on, and I want to get to talk to you a little bit more about, is the Aaron Jones things. It's starting to become more and more a reality that he is leaving Green Bay. What is the running back situation there? Like, who do you think takes over? Who comes in? Who do you want to see them come in and take over that can give Aaron Rodgers a shot to actually get to a Super Bowl maybe finally?
They're going to go with a
That is all the time we have for now. Man Hour Nation, rise up.